Hello, I'm Marissa, your Game Master at HereThereBeMonsters, and we're back with another Working Wednesday stream. Running a little bit late at the start here today because the internet went out last night at about 1 a.m. while I was streaming at Nightingale, and that broke like all the connections for all of our smart lights and everything to Lumia Stream. If you don't know what Lumia Stream is, it will change the lights in our room as an alert whenever we do things like get follows or subscribers and whatnot, especially on Twitch, but it does also work on YouTube if you the person who like follows or subscribes or whatever has to have their own stuff marked to be displayed publicly in order for alerts to work. But if you do, then that will work. So what is going on? Now that everything's fixed and everything appears at least to be working as far as I can tell, we're here to work for about an hour.
YouTube stream is now live.
Thank you, Lumia. We got 30 minutes on the clock. We'll take about a 5-minute break, and then we'll work for about 30 more minutes, and then we'll get out of here. So even if you're not a Dungeon Master or a Game Master, if you've got something that you want to get done that you think you can do within a half an hour or an hour, I'd love to have you join me and get some stuff done. Mainly, we have a lot of bookkeeping and stuff to do today. I know there's been a lot of that in the working streams the last month or two, but some of that is just the nature of us now playing twice a month instead of once a month. And part of that is I've been working on some other projects and haven't had as much time to do quite as much D&D stuff outside of stream as I have usually been doing. So my hope is once we get into March here, we're going to get back into doing some game board building in Tailspire. I had a lot of fun doing that on stream. Hi, Lily. You're here having some dinner, grilled steak, broccoli, and baked potato. That sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for tuning in during dinner. Good evening, guys. Really? Oh, that's funny. I didn't think about the effect that that would have if somebody triggered it during like a YouTube stream. That's fair. That's fair. There's still some kinks to work out, but it didn't turn off the, oh, you know what? I wonder if that connection was broken. It didn't turn off the key lights like it was supposed to. Probably has to do with the, as I mentioned, the internet went down and broke the connection to Lumia for all the lights and everything. So you're helping bug fix. Yeah. Yes, you are. Thank you. I'm fixing it right now. Now that I know that that happened, God, that means every time the internet ever goes down, which it obviously doesn't happen super often, but every time the internet goes down, I'm going to have to remember to do that. I have to go and add the key lights back to those commands. All right, that's fixed. Hello, Vincent. You were not expecting the whole river fiasco last time. Why weren't there some others helping Ava and Dr. Huge or Druge? I wasn't expecting that either. Mainly, so a couple things there. One, I kind of thought of it on the fly because they hadn't explicitly said this, but my understanding was that they were going to try and wait for somebody to bring like a ferry or a barge or something by and get ferried across. But I think that was sort of their plan, but I think when they got there and they saw how relatively narrow the river was, I mean, like, yeah, 50 feet's a lot, but it's also, you know, it's not that much. I think that probably emboldened them to like, oh, let's just try and ford it. So like I came up with it kind of on the fly. And I mean, I think the rules that we did and giving them a 5 bonus for using the rope and whatnot, I think all that was great. But I keep forgetting that like none of them have strength. So yeah, that ended up being a very difficult challenge. As far as why the other characters weren't helping, I would assume that in character I would chalk that up to a bit of like flight, fight, or freeze. And maybe out of character that's what it was too. But I think just because it was so tied to the rope, see what I did there, situation, that they were kind of just letting the leaving aces in places and like letting the people that were dealing with it deal with it. 'Cause I don't really know what else other people would have done unless they had more rope or something themselves. They also waited a long time, which could have given time for an orc attack on them. That's true. That's true. Although I had specifically contextualized that area as having less evidence of orcs. So although they have been attacked around the river twice now in the prologue, that may have emboldened them a little bit too to take some more time there. It's also the scenario you might want to help, but you might get taken out also. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, like if you are in real life, hashtag not legal advice, but in real life, if you are not a trained water rescuer, you generally should not try to jump in the water and help somebody. I say that as a lifeguard of 15 years. If you can throw something, you should. In fact, the little rhyme, you ready for this? All stuff water related has all these cheesy rhymes. Reach or throw, don't go. It's lame, but it's true. You can very easily become a second victim in a water scenario. All right. Obviously, I'm happy to keep talking, but I want to actually get my project open here. Excuse me. Not to mention the person in peril panic. Well, yeah, that's the danger. So, I mean, obviously, yes, the water itself might also prove dangerous to the person, but no, the main danger is the drowner. Yeah, it's I was going to try and give you a link, but I can't find one off of a quick Google. But if you look up the instinctive drowning response, it is literally a human instinct. There are certain things that your body does when you begin to the process of drowning that are uncontrollable. Namely, and it can vary some from person to person and situation to situation, but generally speaking, the arms will go out in a T-pose type situation. The fingers will go wide, making for an ineffective stroke. And while the fingers are out wide, the arms will tend to press down on the water. The entire goal becomes to keep the head out of the water. While that's happening, your head will tilt back, again, to try and keep water away from the nose and mouth. And so your kind of traditional active drowning victim will look something like this. They are climbing on the water, like I said, with very ineffective climbing. And this happens to people regardless of swimming ability because it is an instinct. As soon as that water hits, I forget what part of you it is, that triggers that, head back, legs drop, arms out, fingers wide, pushing down on the water, and they cannot call for help. That is an incredibly destructive trope in movies and television. They cannot call for help. Furthermore, once they get something that they can grab onto because they are still in that instinctive drowning response, the instinct is to climb it. So if you are in the water with the person and they are climbing you, what is happening to you? So incredibly, incredibly dangerous. That's why lifeguards have those things. Lifeguards call them tubes, but looks kind of like a red noodle usually. They're usually about 4 feet long, made out of like compact foam with like a red covering, is to provide buoyancy for the lifeguard in a situation with an active drowning victim. I mean, in all sorts of situations, but specific to what we're talking about here. Excuse me. All right, experience. I'm sorry to hear that, Lily. Obviously, while I'm sitting in a chair, I can only do so much of an example about the instinctive drowning response, but look it up. There's actually a website. Hold on. One more thing on this hyperfixation, because it was literally my job for 15 years. So this this website is not for the faint of heart, as obviously the subject matter is not either. I'll put it in the chat. It's literally spotthedrowningchild.com. And it is actual security camera footage from a water park. And what it does is it rotates through. There are no fatalities. Everyone survives. Everyone is rescued, as far as I know. So it is a drowning, but not fatal drowning. And what it does is it rotates through security camera footage. And most of the clips are somewhere between 15 seconds and about 2 minutes long. And it gives you a chance to look from a lifeguard's perspective and see if you can spot the drowning child. I'm very good at it because that, like I said, was my job for a very long time. But it's really eye-opening for a lot of people. So one of the taglines is like, drowning doesn't look like drowning, from movies and TV. So if you can stomach that type of situation, very eye-opening, very, very good educational resource. And what it does, it just rotates through these videos. So I think there's, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 videos, something like that. And they intentionally, some of them have a bit of a lead up, like it's a random time. It's not like the drowning doesn't always happen 10 seconds in or whatever. But excuse me. All right, last thing on that. Hello, McNick. How are you? If you love this video, is your Monday recommended videos to watch? This is? That's cool. All right, Vincent, sorry, let me catch up there. You have your party looking for some nice iron cobalt ore for forging. Very cool. Love that kind of thing. They got into a knoll ambush, a nice little mine camp map, elevation levels for archer platforms. Yeah, I love settings like that for that kind of thing. It also gives the players a little bit more agency over seeking out their upgrades than just like do random stuff to make money and then go buy money, or go buy what you want with money. I'm a big fan of like start to finish type stuff like that. Wait, you're playing D&D, McNick? I didn't know you were in a game right now. Also, if you guys haven't had a chance to yet, would super appreciate it if you could put a like on the live stream. It helps push our stuff out to more people. I don't know what's going on with my voice. Long time yesterday. Sorry, did stream a long time yesterday, but other than that, I don't know. You're DMing. Yeah, I had no idea you were doing that. That's awesome. How did they do, Vincent? Or is the combat not resolved yet? Maybe it's coming. Okay. Also, hi, Michael. Sorry, I saw your message, but I don't think I actually said hi because I was in the middle of my random educational rant there. I'm going to restart a campaign that you had 2 years ago. Everyone is free for once. Oh, nice. All right. XP. 5 minutes later. So there are a couple of specific encounters to give XP for, and then there is session XP. How do I feel about session XP? I'll look in a minute, McNick. Hold up. I think there was really, really good role play right at the beginning, especially. The first night in camp was really good. I think our players are getting better every session at how they interact with each other in character and how they handle differences of opinion and stuff. That was Little Man. Hi, Little Man. So I want to reward that. I think we'll do a moderate amount of session XP, because there's also, like I said, 2 encounters. And remember, encounter doesn't necessarily mean combat, so I'm not spoiling there. We're trying to stay at least like spoiler adjacent at worst. But we do have God dang it, my throat. He says I am a big fan. Aw. Thank you so much, little man. Appreciate you. All right, how about now? Good Lord. What's going on? So I think we're going to call that we're going to say that's an easy encounter. And then we're going to say that that is a slightly harder encounter. That's okay. They're currently at a pause until next time, but they went through the first small wave all right. Then the high up archers came in before the finish. They have longbows and multi-attack. Ooh, ranged multi-attack is spoopy. Party's level 7 though, so they have multi-attack too. Okay. So was it like archers come out, end of session cliffhanger? Is that kind of what you did? It literally was not the faster option. Literally not. Oops, don't do that. Nice. Have not met the Knoll Sergeant yet. Yeah, I had some kind of like power scaling to sort out for our party after we added Druge. So fun fact, I guess, for anybody who doesn't know this, Druge was originally intended to be a short-term character. He was just supposed to be out there with them in the wilderness, which I also thought that the trip to the wilderness was going to be 1 to 2 sessions shorter than it was. But he has joined our campaign full time because we enjoy both sharing the space with him, the player, and also with Druge, the character. Has been a really good fit, I think, and really just in all ways. A Knoll with some rage. Nice. You went through the same thing. NPC became a PC. Yeah, that's what happened with Ava. So we've actually kind of done that sort of twice. Like Ava, we invited Ava to play, or we invited Mandy to play Ava. Maybe is a better way to say that. So that one, it was at least like done with the intention of making so it was an NPC originally, and then when we invited Mandy to play and she said she wanted to play Ava, like we were fine with that. With Druge though, sorry, also working in the background. With Druge though, that character was originally specifically designed to be a one adventure short arc, but and not because of anything wrong with Dr. Huge Time or anything like that, but specifically because we wanted to keep a seat open to be able to rotate people in periodically. So the plan was to have like not necessarily always have a short-term character, but to kind of cycle through short-term characters for 2 to 6 episode arcs. So, for a while we'd have one, and then for a while we wouldn't, and then for a while we'd have one, and etc. And we wanted to do that both from a collaborative standpoint to work with other creators and strengthen relationships among the TTRPG community on Twitch and YouTube, but also to keep the number of players manageable at the table. And so we just fell in love with Dr. Huge Time and Druge, though, and that's been, like I said, a really phenomenal fit that we've been glad to have. Good Lord, my voice. So now we're not entirely sure where that leaves us as far as future guest stars. That's the downside, if you will, to making that decision. But I think it's a sacrifice that we're all very happy to make. I also tweaked something on Alan Dight's XP. There was something I should have given a small amount of XP for in session 5 that I hadn't done yet. Yeah, exactly, Lily. Hi, Kale. How are you? You mean we can't just have every guest join the party forever? I wish. It was like Robbie for Crit Roll. He was too good to be part-time. Yeah, I love Robbie. Are there any specific RP things that we want to give bonus experience for from session 6? Trying to be, trying to be spoiler free, or at least only spoiler adjacent. I don't think so. Like I said, I think generally everyone did a good job of role playing, especially at the first night's campsite. But you did. T-Bomb! I was just thinking about you the other day. How are you? Hi. I hadn't really thought about that. Should I give experience for like in-game story progress? Nice hat. Thank you. Appreciate it. Got burned by your air fryer again. Oh no. How? What happened? You think yes? Yeah, how do we define story progress though? Because it's more like story hints to lead for, to help lead into future progress. So I don't know if we want to give XP for hints. But maybe we do. A nice hat. Thank you. Hey, somebody should show off our new super supporter scenes for, although I guess it's going to do the weird thing with the screen at the end again, but that's fine. For T-Bomb. Will the party interact with the Discord NPCs? Yeah, that's the goal. So we're not going to shoehorn them in like where it doesn't make sense. So they're like semi-independent systems. But yes, the hope is that the party will periodically interact with those NPCs from the Discord. Did it work? Actually, no. But Aurora triggered it earlier. This pullback from social media has been quite the experience. I bet. I've been thinking about you. Maybe XP if it's like a meaningful exchange between characters that deepens their... I think that's more general. I don't think that has to do with story progress, like personal story progress. But yes, agreed. I do give XP for that kind of thing. Yes, it does have to have a number. It needs to be either 1 or 2. There we go. It's meant for when we're playing games and stuff, not when we're talking. So the fact that it cuts back to the screen is slightly awkward when we're talking, but Yeah, we added a couple of triggers specifically for our super supporters, and I have two more that I'm going to add actually right after the stream. But there's the beach one, and there's one of a bear chasing us through the forest. So all the lights turn green and brown, and there's like roaring and like bushes snapping and feet running and whatnot. And then I'm going to add two more. So yeah, just a fun little extra way to say thank you to our super supporters. You're curious about Ava's story. Yes, there's kind of two types of players or two types of characters, right? There are characters that have really strong and clearly defined stories and goals, and then there are what I like to call puzzle piece characters. That kind of more like are fit into the party, but don't necessarily, and they like contribute to building the overall picture, but they don't necessarily drive things as much as other characters do. And I think that both are fine. Different people enjoy playing in different ways, and I don't want to force anybody's hand. Um, Ava, or Mandy took over for Ava, an existing NPC, so that's kind of like, I don't know, that could be kind of helpful, but that could also be kind of hurtful to coming up with your own backstory and whatnot. So Mandy has been working on that for us. But honestly, that is a little bit of a work in progress, and that's no dig at anybody. Very much so for Druge too. Both Mandy and Dr. Huge Time were brand new players to D&D that played their first sessions with us. Had never even watched D&D before. So we came up with enough of a backstory to help them have like motivations and personalities, but as far as like fleshing it out more, I'm trying to kind of guide them through the process of one, deciding if that type of engagement with the content is even fun for them, and then two, if it is like what they want to do with that. So I think Mandy has roughed out a backstory. I'll look really quickly because this is kind of pertinent anyway. I think Mandy has roughed out a backstory for us. Although it looks like she didn't save it in the Google Drive like she was supposed to. So we're getting there. We're making progress. I know that she has been working on it. Or has worked on it, at least. Yeah, I am curious, T-Bomb. So what, like, are you getting into reading or audiobooks or like Sudoku or what's, how are you, or not how, I mean, how are you doing also? How are you doing and what are you doing? Okay, we don't have a date for the next session yet. I'm feeling really chatty today, which is okay. It's been fun. Just haven't checked quite as many things off the to-do list as I anticipated. Also, Rocket, if you're still here, to your point, if everybody did it, then that means everybody gets XP. Yes, that's the whole point of the session XP. Like, you guys collectively as a group get a chunk of XP for showing up and contributing to the session. Just more like audio stuff on YouTube, podcasts, and documentaries. Oh, I thought you couldn't do like YouTube or anything like that either. I thought you were like totally priced out of all of that kind of thing. Or not priced out, but you know. Okay, I have the character info, party special items list. Oh, I already updated that. Look at me on the ball. Passive platforms, fine. Oh, okay. So what I'm hearing is our YouTube videos are all going to get a bunch of watch time. Big brain. Hey man, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You finished official episode 1 last night. Awesome. Thank you, RR. Ever the salesman. Hey man, it's beyond the fact that I do it both as a joke and also because it matters, but like I cannot understate how important it is for us to get our YouTube channel monetized this year. We really, really, really need to get that avenue of growth and hopefully advertising revenue also established. So people putting in watch time and especially then also commenting and liking, like that's a huge, huge deal for our business goals for this year. I think Rocket already left us. Probably playing GTA without me. Pepe hands. Okay, I need to ping the group. Don't forget to mark off any money that you gave to, not have, that you gave to. No, I don't remember his name. Hold on, wait for it. Wait for it. Rennick. You're not? Nice. Well, thanks for hanging out. Did you hear what I said earlier back to what you said then about experience? Also, break time. Yeah, thank you. If YouTube wasn't loud, how would he be here talking to us? I don't know. Maybe it's off. Or maybe it's not his turn or whatever, however that works. Gentleman's bet on whose channel gets monetized first. Yours or Aspen's? Yeah, I think it's really cool that she's doing that. I really struggled on whether or not or how to like engage with that within our community because you know it's a parent monitored account. I don't know how to describe that exactly. Like we want to be supportive, but we also want to be safe. You are poor now, but still probably richer than the rest of the party. Well, I mean, you're also, you know, close to. You guys have not pocketed any money for quite some time, and you're about to have an influx. But yeah, honestly, if Aspen is regularly making Minecraft content, her channel will probably get monetized before ours. I haven't checked in on it in a little bit. Aiming for weekly. What's she at now for subscribers? I'm going to go to break here in just a second. Just want to finish that conversational topic. Her first video was a fluke. She's at 9 right now. Got it. I've always assumed, I don't know if this is actually true, if there's any research to back this up, but that social media platforms, I think, give you a leg up on your first handful of posts, whatever those are, in order to get you hooked on it. First video was a good one, though. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to take a quick stretch and potty break. We'll be back in a few minutes and get into the second half here. Dude, thumbnails are so hard. It's so hard. We can talk more about that when I get back. We'll be back in a couple minutes. All right, I'll be back shortly. Oh, I guess I can't really. I've been having so many issues with Pretzel recently on Twitch. Like, we started using it again briefly, and I think I'm just done with it. So I think I'm not going to music. So enjoy the tranquility of silence. The sound of silence. I'll be back in a minute. All right, I'm back. Sorry, I lost track of time, but I think that was maybe only an extra minute or two. Is McNick still here? I'm not sure. If so, I think it's just a generic sword. Because I don't think oh my god, what is his sword's name? I keep wanting to say Glamdring, but that's not right. That's the one Gandalf uses. Whatever. I'm pretty sure that Aragorn's crossguard is flat. Actually, I know that it's flat. Hi, T-Bomb. But yeah, don't get me wrong. I really hope that things go well for Aspen, and most importantly, that she's able to have fun with it. And yeah, thumbnails are really weird. Here, I'll give an example. This is relevant to working on D&D stuff. Oh, actually, do I have those here? Crap. Yeah, for sure. I wish I could get these bigger. I'm just nervous to plug in the external drive. I'm just gonna do it real fast. Hopefully that doesn't like crash my microphone interface or something. Yeah, exactly. Can I open? Because Microsoft's like photo viewer is kind of weird for this sort of thing. Okay, good. I can. All right, so I have 4 thumbnails here. Reset. Oh yeah, thank you. I'm actually curious without looking. So I don't want you guys to look on YouTube because I'll tell you the answer in a second. Yeah. No, I appreciate it, MLS. So we're gonna look at 4 thumbnails together, and I want you guys to try and rank for me which ones the thumbnails for which videos you think did better versus which videos you think didn't do as well. So like rate them like A, B, C, D, rate them first, second, third, and fourth. We're gonna get OBS up here. There. And there. There. Okay. So we've got this one. Pretty straightforward, like what's happening in the game scene. The people's reactions are pretty good. I think the name, yeah, it's not maybe the best name that's ever happened, but I think it is descriptive of what happens in the episode, and also it plays off of what we see here. Like we're searching for orcs. Oh look, there's an orc. All right, so we've got that. Yeah, that's for episode 1. Then we've got then we've got this one. Again, we've got a reasonably clear scene. We've got pretty good reactions. We have an evocative title. So this is B. The first one was A. This is B. Then we've got this one. I know my camera's kind of covering it up a little bit, but probably not as good of a title, let's be honest. But I try and walk the line between being descriptive for the episode and being like YouTube title-y also. So at least if people are following things, like then we know, okay, we found the orc hideout, and then here's the orcs in the orc hideout. And we've got some reasonably good reactions again and poses. And then we've got this one. So this is D. So it's not an exciting title, but I think it is a good I think it is a storytelling title that works with what you see in the thumbnail. I think it's cool. It's fun having our minis lined up with our players, right? So like that's Amras, that's Amras's character, that's Mandy, that's Mandy's character. We've got the orc here laying down. And then like obviously they have captured this orc. T-Bomb thanks DABC for performance. What about Amlas? You agree? All right. The actual order is BACD. So like not quite opposite, but pretty close. Pretty close. I'll type it too. It was BACD. So so this is the worst performer by far. Less than half the viewership of the next lowest one. I was having people rate or not rate, but guess what they thought. I mean, I guess it sort of is rating by proxy, right? But guess the performance of videos based on their thumbnails. So this one did the best, which I think makes sense. Here, let me turn off my. So it has an action-oriented, evocative title. The player reactions are really good. And I was worried that the actual picture was harder to see what's going on. Everything's a little bit smaller. Yeah, exactly right. If you make it smaller. So I was really concerned about this one, but this one did the best with 86 views. Well, it also depends on how we're defining best. So this one had 86 views and 6 comments. Then we had this one. This is next with 78 views. So less views, but not way less. However, so this one had 78 views and 16 comments. So like 10% less views, but over 100% more comments. So we had 86 and then 78. And then, of course, it's going in total opposite. This one, 60 views and 8 comments. And then this one at 23 views and 8 comments. Didn't something happen to VOD 4? It did, but I mean, I don't know. It's even before whatever happened. It only had like 15 views or something. So like, yes, YouTube took about 13 views off of this VOD, but still, that would only make it at like 45, which is still significantly less than the next lowest, 60. So thumbnails and titles and stuff are hard. Yeah, that one, episode 4 just did really bad right from minute 0, and I never understood why. It got extra bad when when some views got removed for presumably being like fraudulent would be my guess. Comments may be more because of the actual content than the thumb. Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, you can only, yeah, it's a loose association, but still. Thumbnails play. So I mean, we could talk about click-through rate too. Actually, that's probably the more valuable thing. Let me tell you the click-through rates for each of them, because that's interesting. T-Mom says tags and keywords play a big factor too. They do. Although we use all the same tags on all of our videos. We need a spreadsheet with plots. Link for fourth wall. I can get it for you, but it's easiest to grab off of Twitch. So here I'll rank them. Here, this will be interesting, right? So I told you it was BACD, right? I'll give those to you in terms of click-through rate and watch time, average watch time. Okay, so click-through rate. This is B. A. C. This one's interesting. And then D. So these are the click-through rates in order of which one had the most views. So B with most views had a 1.3% click-through rate. A with the second most views also had a 1.3% click-through rate. C with the third most views had a 1.8% click-through rate, so almost a 50% increase, which is interesting because usually if your click-through rate stays high, then usually you continue to get advertised until your click-through rate drops, and then YouTube essentially assumes that it's found the end of the people that want to see what you've got. And then D, which is not too surprising considering that it did the lowest for viewership, also had a 0.7% click-through rate. So D had half the click-through rate of all the others, and C actually had about 50% more than the others, more than average. So that more or less backs up our, or that's at least like semi in line with. That's okay. I mean, it's still relevant to D&D and making D&D content, so I'm fine with it. So now let me give it to you in order of watch time, or average watch time. Sorry. Average watch time. There. and there's average watch time per video. So that doesn't matter how many people watched or whatever. That is just of all the people that did watch, no matter how many that was, how long did they watch? That's what that one's measuring. So, you know, we can see pretty handily that our videos seem to average about 25, 26 minute watch time. With D, it's less than half. For the length of the videos, that's kind of yeah. So what's happening, right, is you get one person that watches 3 hours, and then you get 4 people that click on it, watch for 10 seconds, and then click off. And then you know, voila, there you go, 25-minute average or whatever. Where, you know, so if you were making 5-minute videos, your percentage of watch time wouldn't be nearly as bad, because even just watching 30 seconds of a 5-minute video before you decide you don't want to watch it, you still watched, what, 10% of it. Whereas if you watch 30 seconds of our 4-hour video, you watched whatever. I don't feel like mathing that, but, you know, functionally none of it. The thing that I think was the hardest for me is, I think, session 4. If I remember correctly, I need to go back and count which session it was, but I think session 4 was the one that I was really excited about. I think that is the best session of D&D that we have streamed, if I'm remembering correctly. It might have been 3. So it might have been the one that was C. But I think it was session D was like the best, what we all felt like was the best show that we'd put on. It had the best pacing. It had a mix of role playing and detective work and combat. Like we all left, and especially me, but we all left that session being like, that was the best session we've ever had. And then so I was really excited to upload it to YouTube, and then it was just like, you. Nope, you are wrong and bad. If you have the players slowly derobe, you might get more viewers. Strip D&D. That is actually a glorious content idea. Like, jokes aside. Probably not for us. But somebody should do that. That's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious. There's any number of ways that you could implement it, but like every time you get hit, you know, lose an article of clothing or something. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, knowing Rubato would just be like jumping off a cliffs then. I would legitimately watch that content. That would be hilarious. That would actually be uproariously funny. Now I just want to see all. Oh my god, that should just be a series. Like Will Wheaton's Tabletop. If you guys have never watched that, if you like tabletop games, Will Wheaton's Tabletop, back when he was on Geek and Sundry, was a fantastic show. But just like a series like that, except they just make a strip version of all of it. You don't even have to go all the way, right? You could just make it lewd instead of like nude. Would still be funny as hell. God forbid you play any of the Call of Cthulhu games. Well, yeah. I'm not necessarily talking about on Twitch. Yeah, you probably wouldn't be able to do it on Twitch. Yeah, you probably wouldn't be able to do it on Twitch. it's a like it would, that would probably have to be like a Patreon or as much as I hate to say it, like OF, even though it's not really like what what people think of when they think of OF. Amaras wears lots of armor. That's true. And of course, Rubato doesn't. So that's fitting. So yeah, there's all sorts of other numbers on those videos that we could talk about. There's also the total watch time, right? Because that matters a lot too. I'm not going to type it all out, but in a lot of ways, for where we are right now, watch time matters more than like click-through rate and some of those other things. All right, T-Bomb, thanks for hanging out. It was such a pleasure to catch up with you a little bit. Take care. Me too, seriously. Isn't his HP like 3? It's 6, but yeah, I get your point. But yeah, it is kind of hard, right? So I think this is a thing we can talk about, just kind of from like a mental health and community building and content creation standpoint. So in total, like say if we take episode 1 of our campaign, the main campaign, that episode is 5.5 hours long, and it has now that Orar is done watching it, it has 37 watch hours. And we know that Orar watched it all the way through, right? Yeah, we'll do, T-Bomb. We'll do. So that means that there's 31 and a half other unaccounted for hours of watch time. And I get it that like a lot of people are might start and then not be able to watch all of it at once and then mean to come back and forget. And some people don't watch all the way through like the end credits or whatever. Like there's no judgment here, right? Like I'm not, everybody who supports, whether you watch 5 minutes, 5 seconds, 5 hours, is helpful, and we are very appreciative of that. If you take though that we have 6 members in our party and the video is 5.5 hours long, that alone would be what, 35, 40 hours, something like that. So that means that technically, like, we have it in black and white. Like, not even all of my players have watched that session all the way through. And that kind of stuff can be kind of tough if you look into the abyss too long. Cause it's like, like really, we can't even get the people that are the most invested in this to do that. So I don't mean that as a knock on anyone. To be really clear, like we ask a significant commitment from our players, right? To sit down and spend, to spend 3, 4, 5, 6 hours with us on a weekend. That's a big ask. Like I get that. Some people have spent money buying software or lights or whatever. Like that's a huge ask. We get that. So like I said, I'm not trying to be like I'm not trying to denigrate anybody's commitment or anybody's like support, because everyone that's participating is already supporting at a huge degree. I'm just trying to look at it from the angle of like how do we create engagement when we're struggling even to gauge the people that are the most engaged with it. and like I said, I say that as a problem to solve for us as creators, not as a knockdown on anyone for something that they like should have done or whatever. It is on us to make things that people want to watch. So like I'm not pointing a finger at people and saying like, our players aren't doing this, or you guys in the community aren't doing this, or whatever. It's more like we clearly have learning still to do. How do we make and how do we market things that people want to watch? You hate the symbol in front of chat? What do you mean by that? Vincent says, I think the slower pace of 3.5 might be a factor. Maybe, but I mean, if you watch non-curated content, right? Because there's a big difference between real play and stuff that's edited down. If you compare real play type content where it's not edited, like D&D itself is just very slow. It doesn't matter what system you use, right? You're going to spend a lot of time having the party interact with each other, getting distracted with the random barmaid that they spent an hour talking to. Combat is clunky no matter what system. It's definitely less clunky in 3.5, but still, combat's clunky. Like there's a lot of aspects of D&D that just are what they are, at least as far as making non-edited content. Now, if we wanted to invest the extra time to create 1 to 2 hour long edited versions, that might be different, right? Because if you edit it down to just the good parts, that's 5th edition is designed in such a way to have you essentially talking more and rolling less. So like 5th edition is a little bit easier to highlight like player agency in that way, I think. Sorry, I was trying to kind of finish that thought, so I'll catch up on chat here. Or said, for sure it's hard to put that much effort into something and see it not succeed as well as it should. Personally, I have a really hard time with the lengths of the videos, but you don't know if it's possible to break the sessions up in a sensible way. The group being distracted, impossible. So I'll come to each person's comments one by one. So to what Aurora is saying, I have toyed with that. So in my experience, there's kind of two types of people, but I'm going to say that there's one type of person that really likes to get into D&D stuff, which is people who want to see the interactions. They want to see how we got where we are. And then there's the people who are like kind of like vaguely interested, but for any number of reasons not willing or able or whatever to invest as much time in it, who want to see curated content. And I think for us, between because of the fact that we're live streamers, it creates kind of an antithetical marketing situation if we start creating more curated content on YouTube, and then we're like, come watch us live on Twitch, where it's going to be 2 or 3 times longer and not curated. So it seems to me like we want to be kind of like true to form and try and appeal to the people who are more interested in the whole start to finish. Maybe that's wrong, but that's kind of what we've been going off of. As far as breaking the sessions up, so if we're not talking about curating the content, we're just talking about literally breaking it up. I've thought about it a little bit, but it seems to me like, yeah, that was just the context. It seems to me like that kind of creates its own set of problems, because I think it becomes a little harder to follow from like a meta standpoint, especially if we start talking about like, hey, like what happened last session. But if last session was 4 parts for you, like what? Oh God, what session was actually last session? And I don't know, maybe I'm just in the wrong here, but like to me, even if I can't watch it all at once, like I'm just as happy to go to start a 5-hour video and watch an hour of it and then come back and watch 2 hours of it and then come back and watch the other 2 hours of it and finish it. Or, whatever, 5 1-hour chunks or, whatever. And I know that I may not be the norm there, but to me, having it broken up into smaller parts, I don't know, that doesn't really seem that attractive to me, just from a viewer standpoint. But then also, yeah, like Michael's like kind of joking, but that's also kind of part of the problem, right? Is if we do break it up, how do we track it? How do we title it? Also, making thumbnails and stuff takes a long time. So those 4 thumbnails that we looked at earlier, each, and obviously they're decent thumbnails, but they're not like great. Each of those thumbnails took, I don't know, 1 to 2 hours. Let's say 90 minutes on average. So, if we break each session up into 4 chunks, that means we have to spend 6 hours thumbnailing that session. Like, that's a lot. Same thumbnail for all parts of a session. I mean, I guess you could, but like, doesn't that become confusing too? Now there's no visual differentiator between like parts of an episode. Yeah. All right, sorry. So that I addressed kind of Auror's train of thought there. What was the rest of it? Okay, Lily had said, oh, the thing about the interactions, it covers people's writing. Yeah, on mobile, it's a pain in the butt. On desktop, it's not bad. Yeah, in general, the live streaming experience on YouTube is very suboptimal. Who has time for that? I think that was in regards to us talking about curating the content. And so here's the thing too, right? If there was a reasonable chance that curating the content and editing it down and taking the time to do that would, like if we could 5x, 10x, whatever, 20x our viewership, I would do that. And so who knows? Maybe it's worth a try at some point. But historically, the amount of effort that has gone into creating produced content for YouTube has generally been, has significantly outweighed the amount of watch time that it has gotten. But is it worth it more to spend that curation time on shorts that lead to the whole video? I think so, probably. And so that's the goal. Is we had a decent run at shorts last summer, and we kind of struggled to maintain it for a number of reasons. But yes, I think that's our way forward, is to try and get just slightly more regular, just more video content, and then focus more on getting our sessions produced as well as we can, and then more shorts content. That's kind of our plan. I don't know if it's the right plan, but that's kind of our plan for this year. So any help, last year put in a ton of legwork into helping us find shorts to publish. We used a lot of them. I have a lot of that saved still to go back and use. So of course, anybody who's willing and able to help that's legitimately super helpful. And then sorry to Vincent's part of that conversation. I appreciate you guys all waiting as I kind of get to each of you individually, because I was like 5 minutes behind. So now I'm trying to like follow up on all those threads. Vincent said, how's the marketing for the campaign going? You're talking about for campaign 1 or campaign 2? And then the intro makes the campaign unique, the mantra. You mean the opening prayer? Thank you. I if that's what you, well, I mean, either way, thank you for the compliment. And then, I'm curious to hear a little bit more. You have timestamps to check for episode 1 and prologue 11. Thank you so much, Aurora. Really, really appreciate that. To make rubato essence for men. What is happening? Did I miss a message there? Do I want to know what essence of rubato was? I think this is good. I can just write my session summaries off stream. Honestly, if anything, it's easier to do than doing it on stream, so that's not a big deal. I think this was a really good conversation to have. I hope T-Bone didn't feel bad about derailing things, because content creation is part of what we do with D&D, right? And it's part of how and why we do D&D. So I think getting into this is still very relevant. And ultimately, right, like, I don't want this to come across the wrong way, or to like give the wrong impression, or to be like gloom and doom or whatever, but like there could eventually be a world where the amount of effort that we have put in just doesn't have the amount of reach that we want. And maybe that effort we like has to get put somewhere else. I'm not saying that we're there right now, or even that we're particularly close to it or whatever, but like if we're, I don't know, like, what is the time frame? 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months? I don't know. Is 6 months too soon? Certainly. Is 24 months too long? I mean, that's quite a long time. So, like, if we're still here and we do what we can, we get into a good rhythm with YouTube videos, and we make, and we get shorts out at least a couple times a week, and we get all of our sessions uploaded, and, and we do all the things that we can come up with as a strategy. If we're still here, like I said, I don't know what the number is, but 12 months, 18 months, 24 months from now, and the videos are still getting a 1% click-through rate and, 20 or 30 hours of watch time, does it make sense to keep doing that as content? Like, we might potentially choose to keep playing, but like there is eventually like a world where like we are doing it for fun, but we are also doing it for content. And like if that content is not succeeding, then eventually I think there's a natural endpoint. I don't know exactly what it is, and I'm not looking for it, and I don't want it. And like I said, I don't think we're anywhere near it, so don't like get the wrong impression or anything like that. But I just think that's a reality. And so like talking through that, and just kind of like voicing successes and frustrations and whatnot, like we sat here and did today for a little bit, actually honestly makes me feel better. So thank you guys for listening and for giving input and context. And it was actually, I think it was really interesting. It was interesting for me. I hope it was interesting for you guys. And I think it was actually quite helpful. This was like 2 or 3 episodes ago now. We were goofing around about Rubato making scent potions and modeling. Did I have a stroke? I don't remember that at all. I don't remember that at all. When was this? Weren't sure if, I don't even know how to say that. You do Rubato, or just Rubato essence for men sold better? Good God. Rubato essence for discerning bipeds. Why you gotta exclude the quadrupeds, huh? What about the tripods? You enjoy these derailments and seeing the inner workings. Yeah, I'm glad, and I think other people have too. As I've talked about before, but I think this context is worth repeating. And I probably should have said it before we started that conversation, but is I try and be real, and I try and like talk through things, and I'm always really, really, really nervous when we have these conversations. Like if I'm elucidating my point correctly, and if I'm coming across the way that I want to, especially when I'm talking about things like, like watch time versus party members or whatever. I don't know if I really pulled that off the way that I like wanted to, but I did my best. And like I said, for me, it's more about, is there anything that we can pull from it to learn, to improve? And what is that improvement, right? Do we need to be... I don't know how we find out what this answer is, but do I need to be at everyone pinging every time we post a video instead of at TTRPG? Should I be tweeting more? Are the, I don't know. There have been rumors out there for a long time that live streaming on your YouTube channel where you upload videos is bad for you. Is that true? I don't know. Maybe I should stop live streaming for a while. Maybe I should live stream more. I don't know. Right. And well, yeah, and nobody knows, right? That's ultimately the struggle of all of this is there's no right answer. If there was, everyone would be doing it, and then it would probably no longer be the right answer. The problem is it's hard to find or even really to get to narrow down on making your own decision of what the right answer is. I am curious though, when I mentioned the add everyone, when we uploaded session 1, did we add everyone? There's a chance that we might have because it was after that big long break. No, we didn't. Okay. I was curious. I just kind of threw that out there as an example, and then I was like, That would have been an interesting data point. There are a lot of questions, but running over them over and over will make you go insane. Don't dwell on them too much, please. I appreciate that, and I try not to. I think overall, from when we've started doing the D&D project on YouTube, which was, I don't know what, last March, April, something like that. I think it's been a much healthier approach to YouTube for us, and as a result, we've seen more sustainability. We're still not where we'd like to be, and when I say where we'd like to be, I just mean production-wise. I want to be producing more content on YouTube than we have been. So we're still not there, but I'm feeling a lot healthier about it, and as a result, we've seen a much higher than previous follow through on the amount of content that we're producing. So I am glad for that because this was kind of our last ditch effort attempt at YouTube, really, right? We've tried so many other things. We tried the Hardcore Herald video series. We tried, Minecraft streaming for a long time, yada yada. I mean, the Minecraft streaming had quite a bit of sustainability as well. It's just the growth stopped entirely. But I think the D&D stuff in kind of, if I called our last year kind of our beta test of making D&D content on YouTube, I think we have a strong proof of concept that, we're going to try really hard to double down on and execute more this year. We have a lot of exciting stuff coming up for our D&D campaign. We have kind of our big story point that we're building towards in our main campaign. The launch of our second game is really exciting too. I've never done that before. I've never had two parties in my world at the same time, or in any world that I played in. The townsfolk thing is coming. I think that we have a lot of interesting stuff. So this year we just have to figure out how do we tell those stories and how do we tell people about those stories, right? I think the townsfolk thing is really interesting. And for people that like D&D, I think that even if you don't know how to play, just for people that are interested in D&D or that are interested in our world, I think there's a lot of potential there for that to scale a lot and to engage a lot of people. So, like, how do we get the word out there more? Same thing with the two parties, right? Not to add more pressure, but LOL, add one-shot special events for the non-main players. Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff that I'd like to do. One thing that we are probably... Here, this is a little sneak peek. I would say that normally this is the kind of thing that I would bring up for our super supporter brunches, which is this Sunday, by the way. But I think everybody that's still here is a super supporter anyway. So even if I felt like this actually needed to be withheld, It's all the people that are here are people that would hear it anyway. Something that we are looking into for the anniversary subathon is an interactive D&D session. So actually coming up with like a like mischief maker for D&D and doing like a one shot or a two shot or something during the event where people can summon monsters or heal people or whatever with bits and stuff. Not with our main like characters or anything like that, because that's just yeah. I don't think I would want to run it like that normally, even if it is financially successful. It's I think it'll probably just be too zany for the vibe that we usually go for. Can you summon minotaurs for Rubato? Sure. So we might make like a copy paste, right? Like it's your characters in the dream world. Actually, that might be kind of a fun theme. That way it could still be the characters that everybody knows, but they're not, if they die, like it's, they just like wake up or something like that. One last note, and then we're gonna wind it down. But to what about Angela? To what Vincent said earlier, I'm not sure if he's here anymore, and that's fine. I'm not necessarily trying to get a response from him, although if he wants to chime in, of course, he's welcome. But where he said about, he thinks that some of it could be the nature of 3.5 being slower. I haven't watched too much modern Critical Role, honestly, because I didn't like the later seasons as much. But and maybe I'm just wrong here, right? This is my own not what's the word I want? Not indifferent take. But I don't think from the D&D that I've watched, which is mainly Critical Role, but I've seen a little bit of Dimension 20 and a little bit of Acquisitions Incorporated and a few others. I don't think we actually play that much slower. I think a lot of that is perception. Like sitting down and watching D&D, it just takes a long time to get anything done. Like they have whole episodes of Critical Role where they like go on a date with a half giant and then sneak into a tower and then they're done. And it takes 4 hours. And like those are literally, those are professional actors. And like it happens everywhere. I really think that it's the nature of D&D, and that's ultimately, and like I said, maybe I'm just wrong, but that's ultimately why we decided to lean more into trying to create content towards the people who are willing to go the long haul. Because it just seems to me like that's just more of what D&D is. At least as far as the full playthroughs go. Now I think what we need to do, and this is the big thing that's on the to-do list for this year, but is we need to make more separate short form content, right? We need to upload how to play videos. We need to upload how to be a DM videos. We need to upload how to be a better player videos. We need to upload world building videos. We need to upload, obscure rules lawyering videos. Like we need to make more 5 to 15 minute content that supplements the longer form content that we're doing. I think needing more shorts and more like 10-ish minute videos are the two big things. I think if we can establish a degree of expertise, for lack of a better word, through some D&D educational content on YouTube, that will have a better chance of propelling us towards the people who are willing to go the distance and watch a longer video. That's, if I had to sum up like our content plan for the next 9 to 18 months. Like that's kind of our underlying strategy. Mixing a centaur and a minotaur to get a man and a horse. Like I says, Emma says how to fill out a character sheet. Don't fill character sheep. Hey, we don't judge around here. This is a judgment-free zone. What about a character sheet? Yeah, so that's a really good point. I hadn't really thought about just how to fill out a character sheet. But yeah, we totally should. And on that note, I would love to have any other ideas like that, because especially as somebody who has been playing D&D for a long time now, it's hard to go back and like put myself in a place where I don't know, right? So, you know, things like that, like obviously if you sit me down and say like, is it hard to fill out a character sheet? I'd be like, oh yeah, that's the thing that a lot of people struggle with. But like me just sitting in a room trying to go like video ideas, like I don't know if I would have thought of that. Intro to the race class of skills. So here's another thing. And this is one of the things that I struggle with, is because we have decided to position ourselves, or to put ourselves in the position of not playing the most recent version of D&D, is should I make those videos about the content, the version of D&D that's relevant to what we do? Should I make those videos about the most current version of D&D? Should I do both? If I do both, should I do both in the same video, or should those be separate videos? Hey, Mad Murdy, thanks for coming by. Best stat for classes. Yeah, that's a great point. Info on the races, classes, skills, just little blips on each one. We'll send a list of questions. You're just working a chicken right now. Amlas is doing all sorts of things with all sorts of animals right now, apparently. Yeah, best stat for classes is a great point. Well, and even then, right, if we strip it down one level further, there should probably be a video of what are the stats. What does that mean, right? Like I did a Call of Cthulhu one shot with my mom, which was amazing, by the way. We did Alone Against the Flames. She burned to death. And so I was trying to explain to her what like Constitution is. And I mean, I know Call of Cthulhu doesn't call it Constitution, but to make my point, since we're talking about D&D, right? I was trying to explain to her what Constitution is. And, you know, like, obviously, I play games all the time. And so, like, the concept of hit points and hardiness and resilience and whatnot, like, duh. Like, that just makes sense to me. Like, I can't put myself in a place where that doesn't make sense. But, like, that was a difficult concept for her to grasp. Which is no knock on my mom. I'm sure she's not the only one. And especially when you get into some of the things like wisdom versus intelligence, that can be a really hard thing to describe. And those things are, at least within the D&D spectrum, those are platform agnostic, right? Charisma means the same thing in 3.5 as it does in 5th edition. Different classes might benefit from high charisma versus low charisma or whatever, but like what charisma is doesn't change across D&D. What Constitution is doesn't change across D&D. So prioritize what's relevant to what you're doing, then both, but also separate. See, so here's the thing, though, and this is where you can really think yourself in circles, right? Is should we actually prioritize what's relevant to our content because it's relevant to our content? Or should we prioritize what's newer, hoping to get more people to come watch our content, and then we make the content that's the video that's relevant to our content? It's so hard. Like, how do you answer those questions? It's like content creation is so much harder than it seems like it is at first look. Because my initial leaning would actually be to focus on 5th edition, and then try and be like, hey, now that you trust my expertise some, let me tell you about some other D&D stuff. Because I don't want to say nobody, but if 100 people are searching for how do I fill out a D&D character sheet right now, how many of them do you think are playing 3.5? How many of them are playing 5th edition? No, and we don't know for sure, but I don't think that it's a big leap of logic to say that the not pseudo majority, the super majority. There we go. The super majority would be playing 5th edition. You have this vague sense that 3.5 is highly regarded. It is, but it's highly regarded in the same way that EverQuest is. It's actually a comparison that I would make pretty handily, for a lot of reasons, is comparing 3.5 to EverQuest and 5th edition to WoW. Charisma is two things, okay? You either talk good or you look good talking. So what it actually is, charisma is often also used as a proxy for appearance. But strictly speaking, charisma is force of personality. Now that your hands are clean, you had meal prepared, roasted 3 chickens, and we're shredding them and bagging for the week. Nice. Well done, mama. If 2 trains are flying to a parallel universe, how many of them are turtles? Right. What's Rubato's charisma? Let me look really quickly. This ended up being a really valuable conversation, so I'm happy to go a bit over. And I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you, Aurora. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you, Lily. I do too. I miss that aspect. There was something that I've never really been able to fully put my finger on that was just more conversational about Minecraft. Some of it was that we didn't mic chat with other people, right? And our brand has kind of slowly become about playing together. So it becomes harder to interact with chat. It becomes a little bit more of a show and a little bit less chat interactive when you're doing that. So that's part of it. But I feel like that's, to like point the finger at that as the only thing, feels like the easy way out. It feels like there's something else, some other secret sauce. Because yeah, I agree. I mean, honestly, I would love to do more. I don't know, love might be overstating it, but I think it would be interesting. I think it could be fulfilling. It could be fun. It could be good content to make more like podcasty, just talk show type content. I don't know exactly if I can describe what's holding us back from that, but I think it could be interesting. I think really it's just a priorities thing. Ultimately, there's only so much time and so much content we can make. To the question, Rubato's charisma is 17. It is very high. Another reason why he should have been a sorcerer. Right, Orar? The 9th and 23rd. Probably. And I mean, I think that's what I spitballed, is I kind of expected to be the D&D weekends anyway, right? When we were playing. I think the 9th and 23rd is what I threw out there. Also, Marty said, would start with what you're running for continuity and then add the other and fill it out. Yeah, and so here's the thing, and I struggle with this a lot. So I don't want this to sound like oh, I'm the wise sage and like you guys hadn't thought of this. Like, I often forget this, and even when I don't forget it, I'm worse about implementing it. But the reality of the situation is that you can get lost in the weeds and caught up in theory too much, and sometimes you just need to do. Now, the reason why I specifically struggle with that is because I get really anxious when it comes to scripting and editing YouTube videos. And so, like, I kind of look for ways to avoid that. But really, the solution to the question of if we make how-to videos, do we make 5th edition or 3.5 videos? The solution is both, 5-head, but both a few times and see what does better. And then focus on the one that does better. While still trying to do both, but is to like do some experiments, get some stuff out there, and see what happens. Because to some extent, we're never going to solve the chicken and egg question of theoretically, should we start with 3.5 how-tos or should we start with 5e how-tos? I think there are strong arguments to be made for both, and I don't think we're ever going to actually answer that unless we just do it. But also therein lies the rub, right? Because I think realistically you'd need a sample size, so we probably need to do 3 to 6 videos where we do both. So let's take the middle, 4.5, right? And we'll D&D round down to 4. But if I'm going to do 4 topics where I do a 3.5 and a 5th edition how-to video on it, that's 8 videos. If I'm doing session videos every other week, I can only do how-to videos every other week, at least for now, because I don't want to overcommit. So that's going to take us 4 months, assuming that I hit that schedule, to actually get an answer on. So that's... timescale becomes a problem really quickly. This is a great question, and we have a good answer for it that we'll know in July. Or I said that sounds like a good approach. Thank you. Lily, question: should I let a teen sleep and hope that they sleep through the night? Sorry for the derail question. That's a tough one. So I know in general, when in the teenage years, more sleep tends to be needed. So like teenagerhood specifically is like a really difficult kind of middle ground there, because in general we know that sleep schedules matter, and going to bed at around the same time and waking up at around the same time, like that's all really important for your circadian rhythm and whatnot. But like teens just need more sleep. I forget how the research like works on that, but they just literally do. So I guess my question would be is how long has he slept? So it's 7:30 right now, right? If he slept for 30 minutes or an hour, I probably wouldn't worry about it too much. If he's already been asleep for 3 hours, I would probably put more effort into trying to wake him up so he can still have some semblance of a night's sleep. If he fell asleep at 7, like let's say he fell asleep, half an hour ago. Okay, yeah, that's a little harder. So I would try and wake him up probably. If a teen fell asleep at like 7, 8 o'clock, honestly, I would just let him sleep. He'll probably sleep the clock around. I frequently slept 12-hour shifts when I was in my teens. That was not hard at all. So I would legitimately say if he fell asleep after like 6 or 7 o'clock, I would just let him sleep. But if he fell asleep at like 4 or 5, that's tough. I'm not a parent, and I'm certainly not a medical, not somebody, not a medical expert. But I would probably try and wake him up at least for a couple hours. And then Adam Murray said, now have you played with Pathfinder? Right. I have played a little bit of Pathfinder, not a lot, but I have. So that's the other thing, right, is you run the risk of, and this is fear of success, right? I understand the bias. But if we succeed with the educational content, but we're not able to translate that into more viewership for our play content, would I actually be happy with that? No, I wouldn't. Now, should that be a reason not to do it? Also, no. But in my head, that does like kind of weigh on it a little bit too, because I don't really want to make educational content, pre-recorded educational content. I don't dread it like I dread some other stuff, but it's not what I really want to do. So, like, am I okay doing it? Like, can I even get myself excited to do it? Yes, absolutely. But to me, it is a means to an end. And that is another thing that does like kind of weigh on me a little bit is like, I am not going to get sucked into only making educational videos. Like, I don't want to do that. I mean, the majority of the videos that we make would be educational, but like, it's really hard with social media, right? So talk about the mental health aspect of it to not, what's the word I want? Like chase the rabbit. And so I think that's something that I have to be really aware of. The take home from kind of that concern in my head is that that's something to be really aware of, is even if they do start doing well, I know that work is not going to make me happy long term as a main form of work. It's something that I can probably continue to do as a side project for a long time. But I have to know myself and I have to know my limits well enough to not chase the rabbit too far. It's probably one of the more philosophical things I've said on stream in a long time, but I think there's a lot of value there. Think of them as one shots. Yeah. Oh, and so sorry. The reason that I said that is, right, theoretically, I love this hat, but it always makes my hair wild. Like once I put it on, it's on. Because like I could make how-to Pathfinder videos, right? We could make how-to Call of Cthulhu videos, and like those that would still be relevant. But I would probably only do that if we, for one, just straight up, eventually ran out of 3.5 and 5.0 content like that to make. And two, obviously I'd feel more comfortable. Like we've spattered in Call of Cthulhu here and there. So like if we make more Call of Cthulhu content, then obviously making how to play Call of Cthulhu content makes sense. But like I said, I guess I said a good thing and then I'm belaboring the point. TLDR. But is just trying to have in mind how far I want to chase the rabbit. Actually, that wasn't too terrible. Obviously a little wonky, but I did also wash my hair today, I promise. It's just beanies to do that. Yeah, it's good to have that settled in your mind before starting. Yeah, thank you. I think so too. Cool. Well, this has been really fun. Thank you guys. Fun and productive. Just productive in a different way, I think. That being said, we are coming up on 2 hours, so I am gonna skedaddle because I have other work I need to get done. Believe it or not. Those dang super supporters, they're beating my door down to make those other triggers that we said we'd make. Actually, I made the 2 that we brainstormed last time, but I have come up with 2 more that I'm going to make as a surprise. So thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for your companionship and your input and all of your efforts. Yeah, thank you. It's been a blast. The plan is no stream tomorrow. That being said, I've been having a lot of fun with Nightingale, so I might sneak a stream in anyway. We'll see how I'm feeling energy-wise. Otherwise, we've got Nightingale on Friday night, Nightingale on Saturday afternoon, and then our normal Sunday schedule. So thank you all so much. Thank you for all of your support here, there, and everywhere. And as always, take care and be excellent to each other.